Hello everyone, in this episode of third person series I'm going to show you how to add shooting bullets and also recoiling to shooting system. And as you can see, this is final result of this tutorial. Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of third person series. In previous episode I showed you how to create this shooting line trace and also shooting sound effect and muzzle VFX. And this episode I'm going to show you how to add more things like bullet, projectile and recoil system to this shooting system. Alright, first I'm going to create my bullet. So here inside weapon folder I create a new folder and I name it bullet. Now I open it up and I create a new blueprint class in type of actor and I name it bullet underscore BP. Alright, now I'm going to create a material for my bullet. So here I right click and create a new material and I name it bullet dash matte. Now I open my material. First I hold number 3 button and left click. So here I have a constant and here I drag a node and add a multiply node here, and I drag a node from here and search for parameter. This one, a scalar parameter, and I connect this one to emissive color, and I set this parameter to 15 and I set this color to orange. So here as you can see I have this glowing orange material. Now I open my bullet blueprint. First I add a cylinder. I rotate it 90 degrees on y-axis. Now I scale it down. Okay, now I assign my bullet material, and you can use any mesh for your bullet instead, but to be more shiny and obvious I use this mesh with this glowing material. Now I add a projectile movement component. First I hit this add icon and search for projectile movement. First I set gravity to 0 because I don't want my bullet to have any gravity. Then I set initial speed to 6000. Alright, and also I set collision of this cylinder to no collision. I search for collision preset and set it to no collision. And now I open event graph, and from event begin play, first I drag a node and add a delay node. Set duration to, for example, 0.5 or maybe more, 1 second. And then I add a destroy actor node because I want my bullet to be removed from scene after 1 second. Otherwise I may face some lagging and problems. Alright, now I go back to my weapon folder, and now I open my master weapon, and here I have this function gun effect that I created in previous episode, and I have set up all of sound effects and animations here. And here after that, this spawn emitter at location node, I drag a node and search for a spawn actor from class. Alright, here I need a class as input. I can promote it to a variable and I name it bullet. So now I can assign different bullet classes to different weapons. And for transform, I drag a node and search for make transform. Okay, and here I have this socket location which gets the location of socket inside my weapon mesh, and the socket is placed exactly on the muzzle and it was used for muzzle flash effect, and now I'm going to use it for projectile, for shooting a start location of my projectile. So here I drag a node and search for find look at rotation, and here I have a start, and for target I should add this input trace end to here. So here I right click and search for trace end and connect it here, and connect this return value to rotation. And for location I can use this socket location, so I simply connect it here. And now I go back to event graph. I have this start fire and stop fire event, but here I have made a mistake and now I'm going to fix it. Here for trace end input of this gun effect function, I have this selection node that checks this line trace hits something or not, and if it hits, it returns this impact normal as trace end, and for false it returns trace end. But now I'm going to connect this true to this impact point. So now if this line trace hits something, the impact point of line trace will be returned to this function as trace end. Alright, now I compile and run the game. First I pick up this weapon and here I aim. Alright, I forgot to assign bullet to this AK-47, so I open my assault rifle folder, AK-47. Here I have this bullet variable, and now I assign my bullet blueprint. Alright, now as you can see, my gun shoots this bullet and it goes exactly where my crosshair is aiming. Alright, now I open my master weapon blueprint here. I open my gun effect, and here I can close this function. I drag a node from here and add return node. Alright, now I'm going to create some recoiling to my shooting system. So I'll go back to event graph, and here I have this start fire event. First I drag a node from here and search for timeline, add timeline, and I name it recoil up. Alright, now I open this timeline, set length to 0.1 and here I add a float track, and I right click here, I add a key and set time and value both to 0, and now I add another key and I set time to 0.1 and value to minus 0.2. Alright, now I compile and I go back to event graph. Now I get my player character reference, this variable, and now I drag a node and search for add controller pitch input. Add controller pitch input. I connect it here and I connect this new track to this value. Okay, now I compile, and as you can see, now if I shoot, I have a recoiling. Now I'm going to add recoiling back, and also you can add some, change these keys to auto to have a smoother animation. Alright, you can make some curves to have a little smoother animation. Alright, now I go back to event graph, and here I drag a node and add a branch. Now from my character reference, I drag a node and search for is attacking. Get this boolean and connect it to the condition of branch. Now from true part, I drag a node again and search for delay. I add the delay node, and after this delay again I add a new timeline and I name it recoil down. Alright, and I connect this one to play from a start, and also this one play from a start. Now I open this timeline and again I set length to 0.1. I add a new flow track, add my first key, time to 0, value to 0, and second one time to 0.1 and value to 0.2 plus 0.2. Now I go back to event graph. I get a copy of this function, add controller pitch input, and paste it here, and I connect update to here and this one to here. Alright, now I compile, and now alright, as you can see I have this recoiling, and you can change recoiling speed by changing values in the timeline as you desire. Alright, I think it is enough for this video, and in the next episodes I'm going to add more things to this shooting system. Thanks for watching, and if this tutorial was useful for you, please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.